This boy was born as a star. The city he lives in has full of cameras live to the world 24 hours a day. There are 1.7 billion people in 220 countries. Watching him to walk, everyone around him including his family, lovers, trends, props, even the sun is artificial. Truman doesn't know about it. He lives in a small town, but the biggest studio in the world. Every morning as usual, he greet his neighbor with his favorite line. In case I didn't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Then suddenly something fell from the sky. It is a part of the satellite. So as not to suspect, the production made an emergency script, broadcast news on the radio with a damaged airline craft. Going to the office, a twin brother greeted him. They pushed Truman to the billboard behind him because of the advertisement. Truman is an insurance agent. He is looking for a woman. Until then, he could not forget the woman he had already met. Few years ago, he met this girl and was in love at first sight. But Truman did not know that the director had chosen someone to be his wife. But unexpectedly, when they saw a woman in the library again, she invited her to on a date with him that night. But the woman's answered that they have to talk right now or they don't have the chance to talk again. Even though Truman was confused by what the woman was saying, he still went along and they went to the sea. Roland wasted no time. She told Truman that everything here is not true, and he need to get out of here. But suddenly an old man came. He introduced himself as Roland's father. The man apologized to Truman because his daughter was said to be mentally ill. Their whole family will move to Fiji. Since then Truman has never seen the woman. But he can't forget her. He uses pictures from the magazine to make a woman's face. His boss ordered him to go on a business trip, but he had to take a boat. When Truman went to the port, he saw the boat. He almost fainted as he looked at it. He couldn't ride because he had a phobia. He was a kid. They were on a boat with his father when a storm hit them in the middle of the sea. His father drowned, so from then on he had a phobia of boarding a boat at sea. From then on Truman thought that he was the reason why his father died. All of a sudden it rained only in one part. The reason behind because there was a technical problem in their set. That day while Truman was going to work, he noticed a man who looked like his father. He immediately approached him with astonishment. But suddenly the people surrounded and blocked the two of them and he lost sight of his father. He immediately talked to his mother and told her what he had seen. His mother said that maybe he was just thinking too much and he was tired from work. And he also said what was the cringe in the incident. A businessman suddenly appeared with a dog out of nowhere. As he drives his car around and around, the actions of the people around become more and more strange. He stopped and suddenly went to the back of the elevator. They were both surprised because that area was a staff lounge. He tapped the painter but ignored him. He also saw their wedding album with his wife cross-fingered. So he went to his wife in the kitchen. Her wife immediately said that she is going to the hospital because there was an emergency. When his wife left, he secretly followed her. He followed his wife to the hospital. In the operating room, the people inside didn't know what to do because Truman was looking at them. Suddenly, a security guard came and ordered him to leave because only authorized persons can enter in this area. Truman decided to buy a ticket to Fiji to find his first love, but the teller said it is fully booked for this month. He just took the bus, but suddenly it broke down and all the passengers got off. In his frustrations, he drove out of town with his wife, but suddenly they stopped as they were crossing the bridge. To cross the bridge, he took his wife's hands and placed them on the steering wheel to drive. His wife panicked until they crossed the bridge, but there are staff waiting who pretend something bad happened and the road is closed. He asked his wife why he didn't want them to have children. The wifey couldn't answer. Instead, she took a product and advertised. Truman was even more confused by his wife's actions. So that he would know the answer, he told his wife what was going on. In fear of Truman's wife, he shouted to do something while looking at the camera. His best friend suddenly came. That's when Truman calmed down. He told his friend that he felt that something strange was happening around him, as if everyone was lying to him. Malone replied that maybe he was confused by what was happening to him because he was thinking a lot about things in life. But everything his friend says is scripted. He hears what the director is saying and he delivers it to Truman with emotions. To make the scene more dramatic, his father showed up. It's a father and son perfect scene. The production designed a background music to bring the audience even more excited. Roland watched it. He took the opportunity to call where the director's live telecast answers questions. He asked the director, "What is your right to manipulate the lives of others?" He replied that life is harder outside in the real world. I gave him a better life. After that incident, the old routine returned to Truman's life, but that day Truman disappeared. The live broadcast interrupted. Everyone panicked to find him. All the artists and staff searched throughout the studio. Props were used to make it brighter and easier to find Truman. They saw that Truman was in the middle of the sea on the boat. They immediately returned the live telecast. To stop him, the director said to turn on the storm effects. To Truman's annoyance, he shouted that if this is the only thing that can be done to him, "You have to kill me for me to stop," Truman shouted. The director intensified the effect of storm. With heavy rain and wind, Truman fell into the sea, but he did not give up. When the atmosphere was quiet, he climbed on the boat again and again. This time he felt peace and freedom, until he stopped and crashed into a wall with clouds the design. He found the exit. He came out suddenly. Someone said, "When you go out that door, the world outside is scary and difficult." Truman turned around and answered him back with his favorite line, "In case I didn't see you. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night." The audience cried and rejoiced at Truman's decision. The end. Don't forget to subscribe.